Top of the morning, YouTube, you good? So if you're new here, my name's Alexander and this is Growing in the Wind. So today we're going to be talking about this space just here, which is all my plans and all my vans. So let's get talking. So this lovely, beautiful space right here, it kind of looks very messy right now, but it is not messy to me. So down here, we've got about a good maybe 20-30 meters, and here's about 20 meters, I'd say, roughly. And when the guy done this, he did the path, he dug so deep. And I put a video here of how this road used to look like. You know those Google Earth image, like cars that go past and take pictures of the place? I haven't been down this road since 2009. I don't know what's going on. Maybe they ain't got the budget to come up here again, but come on now, keep up with the times, mate. So dug really deep, about a swimming pool depth here, excavated, put all the soil over that side, and got lots of moraine from down here. This is moraine, by the way, if you're wondering what it is. There's about 3 foot of peat, and then about the rest is moraine underneath, which saves us a hell of a lot of money when it comes to making this path. Got loads of it and then compacted it down in here. So this is a very, very strong substrate to put a shed and all sorts. But I was a bit like, you know what? I ain't got money. I ain't got that ton of thousands of pounds to put a shed here. So I was thinking, what's the next best thing? So I'm very much an outdoorsy person. I had an outdoorsy job. And I thought to myself, you know what, like all my kind of outdoorsy stuff is in this container, but then I've obviously got a lot of off-spill, as most people have when they, especially their garden or they work outside. So I was thinking, out here as well, things just get rusted out and destroyed and blow away more than anything. Honestly, it's so blowy. I've seen like things that you would never think would move in a space like this. And honestly, the wind will humble you on another level. So that's why I got these vans. So firstly, let's go over here and we talk about this van just here. Which one? That one. This is my guinea van. I say it again, guinea. As in, if you're wondering what guinea fowl van. So we are in. So this is the guinea fowl van, if you're wondering. And I had guinea fowl keats in here. Guinea fowl babies are called keats. Chicks are chicken, ducklings, ducks. And guinea fowl keats are in here. And the reason why I put them in this van, I'm thinking, oh, why did you put them in a van? It's because they can fly at 2 weeks old. And I learned that the hard way. Honestly, like I had them in this little box. I got given them a week old. The next week they were like flying everywhere, and you don't expect, you just think, oh, they're fluttering a bit too high, and then you just all of a sudden there was like Alfred Hitchcock's birds. They were all over the place. There was poo, there was birds. It was just disgusting. It smelt bad. It was just bad. Put it that way. So I thought, you know what? I'm trying to raise guinea fowl, and I tell you this. I got guinea fowls are terrible bums. I've rarely seen them incubate any babies. So what I do is get the guinea fowl eggs and put them underneath ducks. Works every time. So I recommend that. Honestly, Muscovies or whatever duck. Muscovies are one of the best mums out there when it comes to ducks. But yeah, so I had them at 2 weeks, and I was like, you know what? I need them out of my house because it smelled kind of bad and they're kind of getting a bit flighty. So I put them in here. So underneath here, I've got some black plastic, and I put oopsie, almost hit me. A bit of matrix there. And got a black plastic underneath, and put about 2 bags of sawdust. And I did obviously I had some enrichment in here. It wasn't just this. I had a bit of this ladder so they could perch on it, a few kind of buoys in here so they can run around and have a good old time in here. And as you can see, there is a lot of goodness in here, and I put a bunch of biochar. This had a load of biochar in. My son loves to make potions. He loves the thought of kind of mixing things together to make beautiful soil. I love him to bits, that boy. Obviously he's inspired by me, but I try. I like the fact that he enjoys making these concoctions because at the end of the day it's good for the plants. So this is just basically guinea fowl poo and sawdust and lots of biochar. So it's inoculating and absorbing all this goodness. And this will be ideal for beds. But because it's so windy here, like taking this out would be a faff. And when you're pouring it out, you have to obviously wait for a rainy day. But again, that will still kind of want to wash away. So I was thinking, what could I do with all these goodies, all this goodness in here, which is nicely drying out. And that's what gave me the idea. Worm farm, mealworm farm. Let's have a look. But quickly, very inexpensive. This was about 150 quid. An old van which should have been broken down or shipped off and like used for whatever, I don't know what, like less fossil fuels. It got shipped up here. It's going to be here for how many years? I can have several more birds in here. I'd have chicks and keats in here. I wouldn't have ducklings because they're a bit too messy. But recommend it. I had like a tub of water just down here just to kind of pour the water in. The food was kept in here, so rats didn't bother me, and it was nice. It was warm enough. I even bought like a heated kind of a solar panelled contraption just to plug in a heater, but it was fine, especially when I got to the top, because over there is west and we're on the bottom of a hill here, so it didn't really get too hot, and I had the windows open. So plus they're African chickens, aren't they, guinea fowl, so they loved it. Let's talk about these. So over here we have worm farm, and over this side we have mealworm farm. These guys like it dry, these like it wet. So this medium in here is ideal for either one of them, because obviously I can just make this one moist and make this one, keep this one dry. But if you see this video here, this wormery that you see here, I made this vlog the other day. If you want to see it, click the top right of the screen. But this tank is a very weird shaped fish tank. I don't know who made, like, they had fun making this, put it that way. So I had mealworms, and I got given a pack of mealworms the other day, and I was a bit like, how easy is it to farm these guys? And then I looked into it, I was like, that's easy. So I bought some live mealworms and farmed them and had them in here. But that was towards late summer, which was great. They started to kind of turn into, and not many people know this, is that mealworms don't stay as mealworms. They turn into beetles and then lay more eggs and then produce more baby mealworms, if that makes sense. Mealworms are grubs technically, but I mean they're not worms, which is kind of funny. But yes, they look like it, but they have feet and faces and mouths and teeth and all those kind of things. And you can actually hear them munch and crunch and stuff like that. I'll see if I can find a video here of all the excitement of them, because it was quite funny to see their life cycle. Honestly, they could like macerate a carrot in a week. That sounds pathetic, but when you see the carrot just like slowly moving down, I should have got one of those stop things, you know, when you see those videos of plants growing really fast and stuff like that. But it was impressive to see. So this tank here, this fish tank, had mealworms in, but in the summertime it was getting warm. I mean, it was warm, but then in the wintertime it was getting cold. And in the glass tank and them, honestly, they move so much. They're like little tiny little hot pockets, and you get condensation because they're warm, outside's cold, and they got so clammy, which is a bad thing when it comes to mealworms. A little bit of moisture is good. Obviously, they get their moisture from the carrot, but it was a bit too much. It started to get moldy. It started to stagnate. It was getting a bit funky. So I was like, I need another solution. So here, bring on the freezer, because it's a lot more insulated than that glass tank will ever be. So let's have a look inside. Oh, testing my strength here. Ugh. So I've checked on this the other day, so I tell you the problem, and I give you the solution as well at the same time. So with this, like I said, they get hot and sweaty and stuff like that. The problem is the condensation build-up. Ideal for worms, but not so much for mealworms. And I've checked on these guys yesterday, and believe it or not, this is about a good 10 inches deep. And I'm thinking of putting more on, because the more sawdust on here, the more likely it is to absorb a lot of the moisture trickling down from here that these guys create. Because I dug deep and you can still see them alive in here, and they tend to slow down. I'm not going to dig now, I feel like bad to disturb them. If I see one, I would grab it, but there was one literally there yesterday. It's obviously wriggled itself down. But basically they eat everything. Imagine living in a space that you could just eat. It's like living in like a don't know, jelly, I don't know, everything we could think of eating that you want to live in. Imagine that. It's like Hansel and Gretel's house, isn't it? Wild. That story's kind of dark, isn't it, when you look into it? Anyways, I'm not going to talk about that. So that's the problem. They create a lot of condensation, but that's only for the winter time. That's only for the winter. So I'd say I'm happy to take some of these losses, because I know a lot of them would have died because of this cold and stuff, but I know right at the bottom there's going to be a lovely insulative like layer for them to kind of reside in, because I've googled this as well, I've looked into it. Like I said, I moved it up, and I've noticed in my house as well that the colder it is, the more slower they move. And then when I put the heater on, it's almost like they start getting all jiggy and start doing what they're doing, and I'm like, oh, you guys are perked up. It's because it's warm. So once this warms up, then they'll start kind of producing a bit more and start having their babies and then carry on. But I will put another layer of this on there to make it a bit more insulative, and maybe putting a layer of hay as well on top as well, just to keep it nice and warm, because the more warm they are, the more active they are. The more active they are, the more likely to make babies, and then it will keep the kind of the what do you call it, keep the cycle going and produce more mealworms for me, because I'd ideally like to have about a good I'd say about a dozen more of these dotted about, maybe in this space, so then I can have I could feed my animals. I like creating my own ecosystem. I'm trying to be sustainable here. Get rid of the middleman, grow your own mealworm farm. So mealworm farm in an old freezer. Bosh. So let's move over to the worms. So let's talk about the worms. So let's get this off. I want to show you my strength. So look at this. Using my strong hand. So let's lift this up. Let's spin you guys around. Anti-climax, eh? So anyways, there's lots of grass clippings in here, sawdust and sand. Ideal space for the worms. You like a bit of kind of carbon, a bit of nitrogen for them to work their way through and have a good time. So you can see it's dropped about 2 inches over the summertime since I put this in, and the insulation is about a good 2 inches too. So it's a nice insulative space for them to reside in. Lots of moisture in here. Look at that, nice and wet, which is what the worms will like. But with that being said, with all the moisture in there, it's going to fill up. We don't want them to drown, so we need a bit of drainage. No drainage in there, but what I have done is drilled a hole at the lowest point in the middle of the freezer, and then what happened, it will just end up juicing up in this space just here, and then I can take this and use it and concentrate and use it in a, like, basically it's concentrated worm juices. Put it in a watering can like a little sploosh and then use it on my veg beds. Not many problems I could consider with this apart from rats. But what I don't put any food. Okay, I say I don't put any food. I put some banana skins in my sun one. We're looking at in a sec. But I don't put like food scraps, like a whole bunch of like your leftover like Sunday dinner or something in here, which is just gonna, you're just asking for rats to come down. But I do have a cat that comes down here. He's called Cornelius, lovely cat. He tends to come down. You see him here, beautiful boy. He comes down and he has a good time here. Honestly, he's a lovely cat, mate. He's handsome. He could be on GQ magazine, this cat. So that's the only problem with this, but a lovely space for worms. What I'm going to do as well is fill this up, keep adding a nice layer, so then they'll kind of give them more layers to kind of work with and have fun with, and hopefully make some more worm and babies. So let's put this back on, and let's have a look at my son's one, because I have an 8-year-old. It's nice to get him involved, so I dedicated a wormery for him. Let's looky here. This is an old fridge, not a freezer, so it's a fridge on its side. Done the same thing underneath. This is raised on breeze blocks, and I put some a saucepan underneath so it can catch all the juices. This is an anchor. Feels like it wants to hit me. Found that in somewhere, I don't know where, but like I said about the banana skin peels, I don't think rats would get excited about that. Nice insulative layer as well though, with the sheep wool, lots of sand. He's got a lot of grass clippings underneath, so a nice little fun little project. And again, lots of moisture build up in here too. What is that? Oh, it's just like a weird grubby thing that was in the sheep wool. So there you have it. So what we'll do, we'll walk around and have a look at this fan too. And I tripped up on it yesterday. I'm not doing that same thing today. And as you check out all my wood, keep me warm in the winter time. And if you're wondering why I've got all this stock fencing, they make ideal beds. They make really strong beds. So what I do is cut out a massive hoop and then surround the hoop with some chicken wire or this green mesh, and then put plants in within it, so then it stops the rabbits getting in. And now I've got deer fencing, as you can see here. It's just have to worry about them, that's it. And the birds kind of giving it a good old bite and peck and stuff like that. So that's why I've got all this, because I can make hundreds of beds out of this, and I like a circular bed. It's kind of pretty. Could potentially make a keyhole garden with this as well. So that's why I have all these old stock fences. Don't like barbed wire though. I don't know whose idea was it to bring barbed wire, because it's a bit like monkey see, monkey do up here. I'm not saying you as folk are monkeys, but that's like a type of human thing. And you see one person do it, the rest want to follow suit. But we're not fighting the Germans anymore. I don't understand why we'd have barbed wire. So that's why I've gone for no barbed wire. Anywho, this van. I bought this van blind. I was a bit like, oh, this is a nice van. I saw it on a picture you sent me. I was like, I would like that van, please. But then I saw this curtain in the picture in the window, and I was like, oh, this is a bit odd. What's this curtain about? And inside, it's an old camper. So literally, this is an old loo. Believe me, there's a kind of portal. Like a chemical loo in here. I know I haven't used it yet, because I don't have to. If I'd used it, then I have to deal with my doo-doo. I'd rather just dig a hole over there or something. So let's go inside. Should wipe my feet. And have a look. It's a bit dark and dingy in here, but I can just about stand up. Look, if you can see my head, there's no light in here. My head is like, I can't stretch my neck properly. I think you need to be about 5'7" to appreciate this place. But it leaks a bit. You can see in the sunroof that gets easily fixed, so that's why I got this tub here just to collect the water. It's rained a hell of a lot, and there's old like chest of drawers just here, an old fireplace, nice place to sit just there. And this is a bed that pulls out, and then you've got a TV just here, so obviously I'm using it for storage.